All right, guys. So I've known this for a long time, but it's really starting to set in this year for me. Modern men cannot afford to compromise. Just in the society that we live in. If you're watching this video, if I ask you when was the last time you did something where you compromised your goal that you have in mind right now? When was the last time you did something to compromise it? Chances are you would say something that you did 5 minutes ago. Um, I just recently quit my door-to-door job, and so many things led up to that. Like I foreshadowed it in my last video. I didn't think it was gonna happen this quick. I thought I'd be able to thug it out, but when I realized that I was starting to compromise the long-term goal that I have for myself, which is doing this, producing content that helps change men, and just really documenting my journey so that somebody out there can be inspired to like do the things that I've been wanting to do for the last 10 years and do it quicker than me. I realized that I was working out less, I was stressing more, wasn't getting as much sleep, and that's when I knew it was time to leave the job. There's a lot of things that I'm currently working on. My physique is one of them. I've been trying to get down to 10% body fat for the longest. Reason I haven't been able to do that is for a number amount of reasons. Something I pride myself on is being somebody with a high, like an abnormally high amount of self-awareness. And just from everything that I've like been through in the last 6 months since being with this job, it's become more and more clear to me that something I do is just I'm constantly compromising, and it's putting me in the position where I have to quit another job. I turned 30 in 2 weeks, and just looking back on my life in the last 10 years, I say that like I'm like on my deathbed and I'm about to like like the curtain's closing, bro. I'm still young, like I still got life, but I'm only getting older. If I would have done what I'm doing right now 10 years ago in my like when I turned 20, life would look totally different. But it always boils down to compromising. I feel like we live in a society where it's so easy for us men to just compromise because we're constantly like giving into avoidant behavior. We're constantly giving into distractions, and all of that shit is the same. Avoidant behavior is the same thing as coping. Distractions, it's all like it's all used to cope with the things we don't want to do, the things we're avoiding. And why do we do that? We do that because it keeps us comfortable. So what we do is we choose comfort over the long-term goal. And on the front end, that may not seem like it's detrimental, right? But as you continue to stack those moments where you decided, you know what, I'm gonna compromise here just to stay comfortable, because having to like dial in on my diet for the next 90 days, that shit is just way too painful. So you choose comfort. And then over a 6 month time span, not only are you at the same place you're at, you're actually further behind. Something that somebody I watched named Luther Verswalian, something he says is that, there's no staying the same. You're either progressing or you're regressing. So over that 6 month time span where you stacked decisions where you decided to choose comfort over your integrity, or comfort over getting better and doing the hard things, you've regressed in that 6 month time frame. You've regressed spiritually, you've regressed physically, you regressed mentally. You are now out of touch with self-efficacy. You've lost the belief in yourself to accomplish a goal. And that is what keeps people in this cycle of staying the same. There's times where I have like relapsed from, pursuing something, and then like a barrier comes up, and then boom, next thing I know, I relapse and I go back to, my comfort zone, and I do where I go back to doing the same shit I was doing before I like made progress. right? And for whatever reason, whether that was like just getting comfortable at what I was seeing in the mirror, because I mean, at the end of the day, I'm in better shape than most men. Let's be honest. You know, you see the traps. You know, I don't have to say I don't have to say too much. You feel me? But I never reached the standard that I set for myself. I never reached that goal. It's been 3-4 years since I've been 190 pounds. I'm currently like 225 pounds. I still have the goal of being, I've had the goal of being 190 pounds for the past 3 years. So in that time frame, how do you think I feel about myself? There's, if I'm being completely honest, there's a lack of self-respect there. There's a lack of self-efficacy there. And it's because telling yourself you're going to do something is one thing. But when you reflect on the things you did, like the things you actually did, not just what you said, but when you reflect on what you did and you observe where you currently are compared to where you were when you said you were going to do the thing, and you realize that you're no further along. In fact, you're further away than you were when you started. You lose respect for yourself. The integrity is gone. Your word is no longer, it has no value. So that's why you walk around and you walk with your head down. Your posture sucks. You have a hard time confronting people about things that bother you. You don't speak up. It's just so like your whole vibe is just off, and you're trying to figure out like, why do I feel like this? It's because you have slowly chipped away at the respect that you have for yourself. And now what you do to cope is you do things to avoid just getting back on track. All you would have to do is, the beautiful thing about compromising, right? And becoming aware that you've been compromising for the last X amount of time. The beautiful thing is that you are in control of what happens next. You can't change all those decisions, all those micro decisions you made that are now on a micro level and have stacked to make you feel like you're dying inside because you've moved further and further away from a goal that's been placed on you spiritually. I firmly believe that when you have a goal that no matter what you go through, no matter how much time lapses, this goal can't escape you. Like, you will always have the goal to do this one thing, whatever that looks like for you. If that's getting in shape, if that's starting a business, if that's going to school, if that's getting a degree, if that's like locking in a certain type of woman, if that's like whatever that looks like for you. The further you move away from that, the longer you go without achieving it, it's going to eat away at you spiritually, because that is something that God put that on you. Like, that's a part of your purpose in some way. Like, I can't even put it into words. Like, that shit is like deeply spiritual. So yeah, you're dying on the inside because you're moving further away from something that's meant for you spiritually. But because you lack the discipline, because you lack now you lack self-efficacy, which is really going to deter you away from being able to do the things that are hard to do and mundane, you're never going to get there. I'm giving you guys a lot in one video, but I just want to touch a little bit deeper on like what I've been going through specifically, because I'm still not where I want to be, guys. Like, when I envision my channel, when I envision my YouTube channel and my brand and like just what I want to stand for, I'm nowhere near being like where I want to be. There's no way I'm going to attract the people that I want to attract being where I am right now. Because in order to attract the people that I want to attract as clients, or, you know, just people that I really want to speak to, because I know what they're going through, people like myself, I have to be better than the me that I am right now. I can't attract me being on the same level as me, because I don't respect me. I respect me, but I don't really value the word of me. So that's why it's so important for me to transform myself so that I become somebody that I would take advice from. And I know who I am. I'm driven. I'm hardworking. I'm better than most men. But if I'm being honest, I'm just middle of the pack. I'm always finding myself in this position where I'm just good enough. And I don't mean on a self-worth level. We're all arguably good enough, like, right? Like, that's subjective. right? Like we're all, like nobody's better than anybody. But when it comes to, you know, leadership, when it comes to being someone that can make an impact, there are people that are better suited for a job like that. And right now, I don't check those boxes. So, like I said, I've quit my job recently, but I have other jobs lined up. So I didn't just quit without a plan. I don't want, I think that's totally irresponsible. And I would never advise anyone to leave a job without having a plan or something lined up to just like transition into smoothly, so that you can keep yourself in a position where you don't have to worry about like losing or your finances plummeting. But I am also pursuing right now. I'm very close to getting my personal trainer certificate, and I've learned so much. But since I left my sales job, the reason I had to leave was because the money just started to like decrease below a certain threshold that I have for myself. And once the money I'm making goes below that threshold, I start to feel like I can't sustain my lifestyle, meaning pay my bills and everything that I had to take care of in my own personal life. That money that's coming in no longer is gonna meet that requirement. So I had to leave. In my industry, what I would have to do is go and book qualified appointments, right? So obviously in sales, you're gonna track everything, right? And then you're in a group of guys, like you're in a group with people, you have a team, and you guys are all like a part of a group chat where you're sharing your wins, like, oh, I got this appointment on the day, blah, 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 blah. So what we would do is we have a group chat, and every day we go out into the field, meaning we just go out into our assigned territory, knock doors, and we set appointments, right? And we would just kind of keep like a scoreboard going, like who had what, who set what appointments. Now the thing about the appointments you said is they had to turn into estimates, right? That's where the real money is. Now this wasn't a full 100% commission job, but it might as well be. Like you're only getting paid $15 an hour. If you're not setting appointments and getting estimates, brother, you just go to Starbucks and apply. Like you're better off at like Starbucks or some shit. Like real talk. Like the checks don't look like anything if you're not like bonusing and making commission. So I was great at setting appointments, but what I started to see happen was the estimates. My appointments were not turning into estimates. So what we would do is, if you get 10 estimates on a pay period, you are considered thriving, right? After six estimates, meaning appointments that turn into estimates, all that means is like a salesperson gets to come out to a home, do their presentation, and then leave a customer with a price, or show them the price and get them to purchase the product right there on the spot, right? So obviously the objective is for the salesperson to come in and close the deal right then and there. But my appointments were not, I wasn't able to get the appointments I needed to get to become commissionable, so my checks were looking shitty, right? Shitty! So I'm like, okay, I can't do this shit anymore. So what we would do is every time we would get an estimate, we would put 1 out of 10 road to thriving, right? And then you get another estimate, 2 out of 10 road to thriving, right? Again, you'd be commissionable after 6 estimates. So once you hit 6, you're like, yo, like anything after 6, you get $200. Bro, it came to the point where I was only getting like 3 a week. Not even 3 a week. Like I was getting 3 a pay period, meaning every 2 weeks, I'd only get like 3 estimates, and I couldn't understand why. I was just getting frustrated. And like I said, the checks were showing that I was frustrated. So I had to leave that shit because it was just too much on my mental. But what I realized is that it's funny because I always like to like do that shit. But I was having a conversation with like one of my team leads, and he was like, yo, Kenny, how many estimates do you want to have this quarter, right? Because the new quarter just started before I left. Like the day the new quarter started was the day I quit, which was like 2 days ago. So I was having a conversation with my team lead, and he was like, yo, Kenny, how many estimates do you want to have this quarter? Keep in mind, if you get 50 estimates in the quarter, you get $600. I'm like, well, shit, at the very least, at this point, I'll just take, as long as I get 50, straight up, as long as I get 50, I'm cool. So he was like, okay, cool. So instead of thinking of your estimates from a 1 out of 10 road to thriving. Now look at it from 1 out of 50. I was like, oh, that shit actually makes a lot of sense, because the goal is not to just thrive, right? If you are looking at it from a I have to hit 50 instead of a I have to hit 10, you now stretch out the timeline, and what happens is thriving is inevitable within that time frame, right? Like, you stretch out the timeline, right? Instead of looking at it from this timeline where it's just like 1 out of 10, you now stretch out the timeline so you have a vision of where you're going, not just within the next pay period, but throughout the whole span of the quarter. And I thought that was like fucking genius, because it's like, if you look at it like this, you can become jaded, right? You can become jaded, and you kind of can lose that motivation to like thrive as often as you could. But when you look at it from a stretched out timeline, like 1 out of 50, boom, I know my pay period better now, so I know that on that 50th, stay with me. I know you're probably like, bro, what does this have to do with where you're going? I'm getting there. Damn. Okay, so 1 out of 50. You know that at the end, you're gonna get $600. Where in that shorter time frame, 1 out of 10, all you know is after 4, I bonus and I get $200 after that. But if you look at it from this, guess what happens? You're gonna bonus and thrive far more often, because now you stretch out the timeline, and you know that you have to thrive more frequently in order to reach that 50 mark. Make sense? So it's like, yo, the same exact thing applies to fitness. A lot of people are like, so in fitness you have process goals, and then you have outcome goals, right? So an outcome goal would be, I want to lose 30 pounds. A process goal would be, I'm going to track my meals for the next 2 weeks. That's a process goal, because you have to follow that process in order to reach the outcome, right? So with that said, what you have to fucking do is you have to, sorry, I'm losing it, guys. I'm getting excited. But yo, what the fuck you have to do is you have to understand that I had to go through this process in order to reach an outcome. The same thing applies to fitness. Losing 30 pounds in that time frame becomes fucking inevitable. So I hope that kind of perspective helps you guys out on your journey. Today's day 3 out of 90 for me. And I'm just going to continue to stack these wins, and getting to my goal is going to become inevitable. Not only that, but other milestones are going to be reached because I stretched out this timeline, and I'm excited to share that shit with you guys. But the main thing here is, guys, you guys can't afford to be compromising. It's costing you your self-efficacy, and without self-efficacy, you're not going to fucking do anything. So, yeah, just chill on that.